everyone. So I'm here today to share this fun little Christmas card that I made using some new and old Mama Elephant products. And the star of the show is going to be the new flip slider die that Mama Elephant just released. And we're going to use that die to create an interactive card that tells a story. And the story this card is going to tell is that of a little doggy who is feeling a little remorseful and is kind of worried about his chances with getting on Santa's nice list because of some of his actions, including that of throwing snowballs at one of Santa's reindeer. And that's going to be the activity that we kind of depict in our flip slider reel that's going to be in the center of the card. And so let's get started making this card. So for the frame, I'm using the Mama Elephant tri-window die and some pattern paper by Lawn Fawn and some wood grain paper by Lawn Fawn. And the sentiments are from the Santa Sleigh stamp set just released by Mama Elephant. And in the upper left-hand corner, we're gonna write in, Dear Santa, define good. And then in the bottom right-hand corner, it says, check one, naughty, nice, or I tried. And I stamp that with black VersaFine ink, and then as always, I'm going to go over it with some clear embossing powder to make it stand out on the card. And the reason that I kind of cut up my pattern paper into 3 pieces is because I didn't have enough for a whole A2 size card base, so I needed to split it up. All right, let's get started on our flip slider die. And the flip slider die has those 3 pieces that I've showed you, the long T shape, and then there is a small rectangle and a larger rectangle. So you're going to cut out 4 small rectangles, 4 large rectangles, and then 1 of the large T shapes. And what I'm doing here is I'm coloring in, this is going to be the little rectangle where we place our scenes on, and then the gray paper behind it is going to be the frame for each of our little pictures that are going to create our story. Later on, I decided that I didn't like that blue color, and I just kind of went and shaded in some small rectangles with a cool gray marker because that just fit in better with the card. But I just wanted to show you the process of how I kind of put those together. All right, now let's work on the flip slider mechanism. You're just going to fold it along the perforated lines, and you're going to go back and forth. There's not a right way to fold it. You have to fold it both ways because the paper is going to need to move in both directions in order to work. We're going to fold those 2 little pieces on the end inwards. Those are the only pieces that just go one way. And that's going to be what attaches to the card, and I'll show you later on in this video. For each of those 4 little perforated rectangles, we're going to put a piece of 1/8 inch score tape in the middle of each one. And that is where ultimately we're going to place our 4 little rectangular storyboards, which I will show you that in a second. So I'm using 1/8 of an inch instead of a 1/4 inch, even though the 1/4 inch might fit, because we want to make sure that none of the adhesive sticks beyond its borders, because then the flip mechanism won't work so well. So to assemble these, you're going to just start pulling off the little adhesive backing and just placing your rectangles down one by one on top of the other, lining them up so that they're even and so that they are within each of its little like rectangular slot, because if you tape one a little bit too far one way or the other, then it's not gonna work, and you'll see it when you do it. You'll understand what I mean. So now I'm just kind of playing around, making sure that the sliding mechanism is going to work. It's a little bit difficult to get it to work without taping it down to a surface, because the only pieces that are adhered to the surface are those 2 little squares on the back, nothing else. So it's a little difficult to play with, but then once you adhere it down, it works great. And we'll get back to that later on after we finish this coloring. So I sped up the coloring a lot. So if you want to skip past it, feel free. If you want to just watch it, then feel free to do that too, and I'll kind of explain what I'm doing as I go along. The reds that I'm using on Santa are R29, 39, and 89. And for his beard, I decided to use warm gray markers, And I did them in kind of a flicking motion because I wanted to give the appearance of little hair. Sorry that my hand happens to be right over Santa's beard as I talk about that, but when I lift it up, you'll see what I mean. For the little doggy, and we have two doggies, but it's the same doggy. He's just going to appear in two different scenes of the card. So we're going to color him the same way for both cards, and we're going to use our Copic markers from E41 to E49 to make the dog. We're going to give him really dark brown ears and make the rest of him a lighter brown. And I also gave him some blue stripes on his scarf with, I think it was a B26 marker. For the wreath, I'm using a different color combination than I usually do. This is a duller green than I usually use, but I thought it might mix in nice with the grays that we're using in this card. So I'm using G21, G24, and then G28. And then for the reds, I'm just going back to the same reds that we used on Santa, the R29, 39, and 89. Sorry about that. I don't know if you could hear that. I was actually putting a ponytail in my hair, so I'm not going to edit that out. I'm going to keep it real for this video. So that's what that noise was. For the little reindeer, I used some warmer brown colors for that, E31, E35, and E37. For the bow, same reds as we used for Santa and for the little dog bow. The gift box was B21, B24, and B28, and then some cool grays for the body of the box, just in the upper corners. All right, now we're going to adhere the base of our card to our card, and we're going to start assembling things. Well, not just yet. Now I'm just kind of playing around trying to figure out where I want all the little pieces that we've cut out to go. And to cut these out, I use the die cuts that come along with the Mama Elephant, Santa's Sleigh, and Yappy Woofmas sets. So we're going to get started on our little flip-sider book, and it's going to tell the story of a little doggy who is throwing a snowball at a reindeer. So this is our reindeer. He's going to be the very last picture in the story, and I put him there because I wanted to see where I needed to place all my snowballs for the rest of the little pages of the book. So there's a snowball that's about to hit him, poor little reindeer. And I'm just trying to get the placement just right. And then there's the two little panels in the middle are going to be the snowball itself in flight. And we're going to draw some little speed marks behind them too to make it look like they're being like tossed through the air by this little bad little doggy. And so I'm just using a gray marker for that, and I'm just, making two little lines before it just to kind of indicate motion. So now we're going to put tape on those two little flaps that I was telling you about before. You want to use really, really strong tape here. So I am using score tape, and I'm using 1/4 inch and 1/8 of an inch score tape because that's the size that I needed to fit perfectly for that little square. And I wanted to make sure that the little flaps were adhered very firmly because this flip slider has to move a lot, and the only place that it's adhered to the card is those two little spots. So it's got to be strong to hold up to use. So here I am. So I'm just trying it out, and you got to try it a few times just to get the little cards to flip easily back and forth because they are going to move backwards and forwards, not just in one direction. So the more you play with it, the easier it'll get. So in this little box, it says check 1, naughty, nice, or I tried. I thought it'd be cute to put a little check next to I tried with a little doggy trying to make amends by being so cute, sticking out a wreath like that. And any of us who have pets, we all know this look, right? When our little doggy has done something bad, and then he just goes and assumes the cutest pose possible, so you just can't get mad at him or her. I am just going to add some little highlights with a white gel pen. I'm going to put some polka dots on the ribbons. under the dog and also on the little present. I just added some little white dots to the white on Santa's hat and then the white on his fur trim on his coat, just to give it a little bit of dimension in person. Glossy accents on the wreath, on the little berries on the wreath. And then I placed the little pile of snowballs next to the doggy. So here's the card. I hope you liked it. I hope that you give it a try. I had a lot of fun putting this together, and I'm sure that anyone that you send this card to will just love it. All right, have a great day, everyone, and I will see you again in the next video.